Hello, this is Building Catholic Homes. My name is Brendan Lane, and today I'm going to give you an introduction to what the videos on this channel will be all about. Alright, so before we begin, nobody panic, but in the United States of America we have a problem. At least I see it as a problem. Our Catholic homes, by and large, are not distinct from other homes. If you go over to Europe, you will find, in the faithful Catholics over there, you will find distinctively Catholic features in the homes and in the families. And yet over here, across the pond, we don't have the same kind of Catholic identity. So that is what the channel is really all about. Before I get more into that, I'll give you an example. I remember when I was going to school at Franciscan University in Steubenville, and we got invited over to this Catholic person's house. And I went there with my tratty roommate. And I remember him being kind of quiet most of the night. And when we left, I asked him what was wrong. And he, instead of answering it directly, he asked me actually a pretty interesting question. He said, if you didn't know the guy who lived there, would you have guessed that the home that we went to was Catholic? And at first I thought, well, my tratty roommate, he's just being pretentious. But the more I thought about it, the more it started to actually make sense. So then fast forward several years, and my wife and I were on our honeymoon, and we went to this amazing Marian shrine known as Our Lady of Walsingham. And while we were there, we were touring around, meeting a lot of the locals, and we got invited to one of the parishioners' homes for an after-mass party. And we noticed that when we walked into this guy's kitchen, half of the wall was built on a fallen down monastery that had been there for hundreds and hundreds of years. And right next to the kitchen was this shrine to the former monastery. And it was right there in this guy's kitchen. It was this amazing reminder of the Catholic faith. It was this amazing reminder of the destructiveness of Henry VIII's dissolution of the monasteries. And it made me think back to what my tratty friend had said all those years ago in Steubenville. And I realized that there was something very different about this house that I was in England versus virtually any other house I'd been in the United States. And so it got me thinking about the nature of the Catholic home and how do we do this? Now, a couple years later, I'm a father and a husband still, obviously, and I'm still trying to develop this idea of what does it mean to build a Catholic home, both physically, but much more importantly, spiritually. And so that's really what this channel is all about. It's about building Catholic homes, not necessarily building Catholic houses, but building Catholic homes. I personally am very interested in the physical attributes. However, there's a lot more to making a Catholic home, obviously. So in any event, that is the purpose of this channel, is just to plant a seed, as it were, to all those people out there like me who desire to live in a home that is completely and totally separated from the influences of the world. Okay, so who am I to do this? I guess you could say I'm a guy with an iPad, because that's true. Also, I'm a Catholic. I'm a new father. And I used to be a teacher at a Catholic classical high school where I taught Catholic history, apologetics, and theology. What I do now is a little bit different than that, and maybe I'll talk about more about that in the future. But for today, really, I'm just an interested millennial father in building a distinctly Catholic home for my wife and for my daughter. So let's get a little bit deeper into that topic. What is a Catholic home and what is a home? So there's this new book out called Theology of Home, or it's relatively new, by Dr. Carrie Gress, Noel Maring, and Megan Schreiber, and it's very interesting. It's obviously tended towards my wife. It's my wife's book. It's not my book. But anyways, I took a look at it, and it's very interesting. And I really hope a lot more books like this come out. We need to have a deeper understanding of what the home is from a theological standpoint. And anyway, in the first couple of pages, the authors have a great quote and explanation from G.K. Chesterton, so I thought I'd read that here today. Okay, cool. Okay, so this is what G.K. Chesterton once wrote about the home. He says, quote, "The place where babies are born, where men die, where the drama of mortal life is acted, is not an office or a shop or a bureau. It is something much smaller in size and much larger in scope. And while nobody would be such a fool as to pretend that it is the only place where people should work, or even the only place where women should work, it has a character of unity and universality that is not found in any of the fragmentary experiences of the division of labor." End quotation. Now, the writers of the book go on to explain this a little bit, and this is what they say. Quote, "Home is, as Chesterton said, small in comparison to a business or office, but enormous in terms of the impression it makes and leaves upon us. Home by its nature is meant to be a foreshadowing of heaven. It is to be both satisfying in this earthly life, while also offering a glimpse of things to come when we see the fulfillment of Christ's promise of heaven. Pope St. John Paul II's final words in this life were, quote, 'Let me go to the house of the Father,' end quotation. He wanted to go home, to the home where all of us are willed by God to go, even if he allows our own will to lead us elsewhere," end quotation. So, as you can see, the home is pretty important. Nay, it is essential to the Roman Catholic, or at least it should be. That's what this channel is all about. In the future, I'll make videos about all kinds of things that have to do with the home. Architectural features, like literally building a chapel into your home or outside of your home, and a ton of other traditions associated with the Catholic home. I'm actually trying to set up interviews with artisans who make Catholic devotional items, including woodworkers and leather workers, and a ton more on that. My father-in-law is actually an expert builder and has owned his own business in building and detail work inside of homes, and I'm hoping he will be a consistent guest on this show. But the whole point of this is to give you some idea about things other people have done in their homes. I'm very excited, and hopefully you will be too.